Back at it again.
Back at it again. I just realized that I don't even have my water. I just had to go get it. But yeah,
Ooh,
welcome
get
to
your water.
Film Study, an all-American podcast with Lexi. I'm Lexi. Glad to be back for season 5. This is kind of crazy though. It's kind of surreal for me because the podcast just reached 1,000 subscribers. I don't think I've released an episode since. And we're like,
Congratulations.
what is it, like 1.03K? It's really weird to see on YouTube. And Chanel, you've been here since the beginning.
Let them know.
Literally zero subscribers to 1,000 subscribers. You are my starter and closer, and we go and talk about all of the craziness that goes on in All American. But yeah, so shout out that might be doing a little what is it? What do they call it? It's like a giveaway contest thing.
Oh,
So
yeah.
to celebrate 1,000 subscribers, and also by way of announcement, since I'm just updating y'all, I have like person who's joined my team for film study. Her name is Danny, and she's awesome. So if any of you have seen any of the videos that I've like posted on YouTube or on TikTok, or all of the shorts that we've posted on YouTube thus far, yeah, she thanked Danny because she's great and she's amazing and she's killing it. She's killing it. So anyway, all that being said, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, rate the podcast 5 stars, all of that good stuff. And you can even support. They have a new little function where you can do a little super chat if you want, whatever you want to do. But let's get into it because we're at talking about season 5 All American premiere, Ludacrismas. What a name!
What a title.
What a
I wasn't sure what
title!
to expect. I told you I went into this blind, so.
Well, and the thing is, okay, and I went into it very much not blind because people actually released a spoiler script. I didn't even tell you about this. People released parts of the script, uh, like what was it, like a month and a half in advance or something. So I didn't like there were just like pieces of scenes, and the title that we had heard about. We were just like, look at Christmas.
How did you restrain yourself from like looking too much into it? Or did you just say, forget it, I'm just gonna read
Well,
everything that I can?
it was kind of it was a big deal on Twitter. I don't even, it was a sore subject on Twitter. So it was more about the show had like 1 month to come back. So it was just like we about to find out in a month anyway. So we're gonna look at what's out there. But some of the stuff I was like, people like volunteered to me. They were like, "Did you see this?" And I'm like, "Well, now I did." So it's just taking it
I
all,
did before, but
right, taking it
not
all
mad
in
at it.
stride and seeing. It was also really interesting because I think it good to point out like what you see in different drafts. Listen, all American people, if you're watching, I did not leak a script, so don't let that hinder you from coming on my podcast in the future. I'm just putting that out there right now.
A
Don't
little
let that
disclaimer
hinder
for the
you.
people.
But yeah, it was interesting to see just how they write, because I've really never gotten to see a script before and what an early draft looks like versus what eventually comes on our screen. But it was really like 2 scenes, not even that many scenes were leaked. So anyway, it was interesting to say the least. But regardless of the script, what did you think of the episode? What would you rate it? Would you, let's say out of 10, 10 being the best, what would you rate this season 5 premiere?
Oh my gosh, this is so much pressure. Okay, season 5 premiere. I want to say, I think it was solid, but I want to give it like a 7 or 8. Reason
Mm,
being is because one, I feel like they should have done a little recap in the beginning because I'm not gonna lie, I kind of forgot some things that happened. Like when they started out the scene, I was like, And where are we again? What has
Right.
transpired? Like,
Yeah.
it's been a whole
And 20
summer. A lot has
episodes is a
happened.
lot. 20 episodes is a
Yes.
lot. That's how many episodes they had last season, how many episodes they have this season. So to your point, yeah.
Yeah, so I would have liked a little recap. One, two, um, it I think the situation around, and of course we'll get to it, the situation around Olivia and Spencer, it was so awkward, but I don't know, like it wasn't even like the ending wasn't as climactic because I'm just like, what is going on? Like there were just like a
Yeah.
lot of
It was,
like
yeah, it
passive,
was
and it was
very
like
like
it felt
this
very
way for
passive
an episode.
aggressive.
Oh, really? It felt passive aggressive to
Right.
you? Wait, from whose
Like
end? I guess we'll get into it
in
when
the
we talk about it. But like, remember that you said it
yes.
was passive aggressive.
I remember. It's just like, yeah. So, I would say about a 7 or 8. My mind is saying like 7.5. So that's where I'm gonna
I
rate it.
actually really like that because the first rating I thought of was an 8, but I was just like, maybe an 8 is a little bit too high. So I love that you did a 7. And I was like, a 7 is too low. But I love that you did a 7.5, which I'm right there with you because I think they and when I heard that they were doing crossovers, that was another thing that I did know ahead of time that they were doing crossovers, and they said it in the trailer, etc. But I was just like, it is really bold, and I have personally never experienced people who are in a universe, like TV shows that are in a universe, doing a crossover. And they did crossovers both on All American and All American Homecoming, but I've never experienced them doing a crossover like for a season premiere. And I'm like, NK,
Right.
that's bold. NK, the showrunner. I was just like, you're just making bold decisions. And I am a person that like typically tends to defend the writers a lot of the time. And when I found out they were doing a crossover, I was just like, look, they better execute because otherwise it's going to be like, there's nothing I can do for her now.
Oh no, I can't save you from
my
this.
sister done, my sister done burnt too many bridges. There's nothing I can do for her. And so I think that again, to do a crossover, you have to like execute it. Um, I think that they hit the right notes on some ends, and I think a ton
Hmm.
of other notes fell flat. I think that this very much felt like so kind of like what I thought of the Homecoming finale. This is what I thought about the All
Okay.
American premiere, is that it seemed like it should be in the middle of a season, or a couple of episodes in or something, and not like a premiere. Because
Mm.
it wasn't like whoo in your face. It was pretty muted. Yeah, it was pretty. It wasn't one note,
Like
but it
even
was,
pace throughout.
yes, even
Right.
keeled. Yes, even paced, even
Hmm.
keeled. But they did bring some drama as well. So,
Yes.
yeah. So it was 7.5. Great rating. Um, yeah. Okay. Let's child these storylines.
It's a lot of mess.
A lot of mess. Let's start off with
Yeah.
like something that wasn't as messy, which is Coop and Laura. Actually, you know what? I lied. I lied. First of all, we're going to mention that the episode started off to your point. It started off with a montage. Now, I actually guessed. I didn't know this. When I made this
Mm.
prediction, but we did like a little review of the trailers beforehand. So I guess I was just like, I feel like they're going to like have some sort of flashbacks, because when you're jumping ahead 2 months, that's another reason why it felt sort of 7.5 ish, because they jumped that
Hmm.
two months without that establishing. But I was just like, they need to give us some sort of establishing shot of what's happened over the course of the 2 months. So it wasn't like flashbacks true, but it was flashbacks in a montage. Um,
Mhm.
which we had that, we got a little parallel of Spencer and Olivia in the hot tub as they're missing each other. They're both thinking of these memories that they're having. We got Jordan being on the sidelines, Spencer playing out of his mind, Layla trying to figure out what is going on with her label, and then Billy and Olivia working on this story. So we got a ton. Oh yeah, and then Asher coaching. So we got a ton of like what's been happening, but it was so quick, and so quick pace that it was just like we never really got settled, and so it was really a quick little montage. And by the way,
Right.
another thing that I said when I reviewed these trailers, for Homecoming in particular, I was just like, we've gotten a lot of fine arts on Homecoming. There's been dances, there's been singing, and I was just like, maybe in the second season we cool it a little bit on the fine arts, and it is so hilarious to me that from the jump we don't get like 30 seconds to a minute of Cam singing. We get the whole song,
He sang the whole thing. But
the
at first I
whole.
was like, first of all, I love that song. I love that song,
Me
right?
too, but
But I was
but
like, is
also
it John Legend? No. That's not John Legend. Who is that? And come to find out it's Cam, but then I didn't. That's actually him singing, you
it's
said.
actually him singing. Yeah,
He has a good voice though.
he does have a good voice, but it was just so funny to me because when we were like 20 seconds in, I was just like, oh, like when you get prepared to clap and you're like, okay, good. Even though I had said, I was just like, we need to cool it on the fine arts. I laughed and chuckled a little bit when I was like, oh, we're not cooling it on the fine arts. We get 20 seconds in, I'm like, okay, good, good, good. And I'm like, oh, we're still going.
You are getting verse,
To
chorus,
what?
verse, bridge. You gonna hear the rest of the song.
We were like 1 minute and 50 seconds and I'm like, oh, we are still going.
He's setting the mood. Leave him alone.
He was, and the mood was set for Christmas and Kwanzaa. Okay, it's Lawson's Cafe.
I, there was a lot going on in the background. I said, okay. First of all, I was also confused just with that opening because I'm like, okay, he's singing. I thought they were kind of at a karaoke thing, where I was like, oh, maybe he's trying his chops out at like a karaoke night or something like that. And then for all you know, it's like an audition
Right.
with Clay, and I said, oh, what is this?
It was,
Because
I think it was an
as
open
you know,
mic night
like
and they were scouting, is what was happening.
there we go, yeah. Because I haven't been like too up and up on Homecoming because I don't
Hmm.
I kind of like just fell off. I need to catch up, but
No, you're
I
good.
didn't realize that he had this in him. So
Yeah, no, he
he's
sang at
surprised.
least, he sang a good amount of times on Homecoming. So yeah, it's
Okay,
you have that to look
that's
forward
right.
to.
Didn't he sing for Keisha when
Yeah,
she didn't have
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
track?
Yeah, he sang in that episode. He sang in a couple other ones. So yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's right. Okay,
yeah.
I remember now.
No, you're good. You're
Hindsight bias.
good.
Okay.
So I just, just had to mention the montage up at the top. But you know who else was in this montage? Who had a little bit of a storyline? Coop and Laura. Number one, I love Laura Baker. Coop, I love Laura Baker.
Oh wow. Ooh. Okay. See. Okay. And I agree with you in seasons 1 through 4. However, I will say, okay, 1 through 3.5. I liked Coop last season, and I loved her in this episode. She's growing on
Really?
me. I think she's doing a good job. I mean, yes, okay, so she did get into Olivia and
We'll
Spencer's
get to it. We'll
behind,
get to
but
it.
that was deserved because they were making me upset too.
Oh, we
Um,
disagree.
but I love. Okay, okay, all right. Let's
I'm
talk
so
about it.
ready to get to it. I'm sorry. No, 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 no. But Coop and Laura. Go ahead. Why you
I
like
loved
Coop in
her
this
here though.
episode? Yeah,
Yeah, I just think that she's doing a good job, and like I'm proud of her. And she seems like she's
she
turning
has
over a new
come a
leaf,
long way.
and she's
She's
trying to be better.
mature. I can't even get that
Yeah,
like out with a straight face. I was trying to say she matured, and I I'm not gonna
You
say
gotta give her a
that.
little bit of credit. She's not giving no
Like,
credit. Okay.
she gets credit for like keeping herself out of trouble, like really bad trouble.
True.
That's I will give her credit
Yeah.
for sure, for sure. But yeah,
Okay.
Coop and Laura, Laura is her business is booming. She hires a new guy named Darius, but she and Coop have been doing this thing obviously since the end of last season, the very end of last season. And Coop is really excited about it. Like she's super excited to help Laura, super excited to be on the straight and narrow, which we love to see for Coop. Coop and Asher's friendship still going strong in season 5. It's really interesting because I'm like, Asher is the best we've ever seen him as a friend, and it's to Coop. And
Mhm.
I think that's been a
Mhm.
very interesting development that we see. Like he, they sort of confide in each other. He confides in her, or sorry, she confides in him a lot. And at the end of it, like he gets her this really thoughtful gift of like a pen, to write her notes for Laura and everything. And basically, Coop was a little insecure about this new hire, and so she decides to take her new pursuit even more seriously, and not just do online classes, but try to get a bachelor's in law at GAU. So, what did you think about all that?
Like I said, I loved it. I I guess a part of me is surprised that Coop wants to pursue law, but she finally has a focus, and if she wants to do it, heck yeah, do it.
Yeah,
She has experienced, I guess, both sides of the law, right? So she would be the perfect advocate for something like
yeah,
this. You know? I'm like,
yeah.
you got experience both ways, so you know. Um, and I'm legitimately happy for her. She seems like her life is making a turn for the better.
Hmm.
And I'm here to see it because Coop was her character and whatnot, and the message she used to get into was kind of always annoying.
These
However,
are facts.
I think
These are
once,
facts.
uh, yes. However, I think once, and I thought she would have been out of here 2 seasons ago. You already know that, but she's still here,
Oh
and
yeah, when you were
she
like,
made a
Coop
new
is
name for
dead, dead. No,
herself.
she wasn't.
I I I thought she had gone to Joseph's ladder. Like I thought she was out of here for real, for real, for real.
You
But
were
she,
confident. I remember I was just like, I don't think she's dead. They did. You were like, nah, she did.
you you couldn't tell me nothing. I thought she was
I
out of
couldn't.
here.
I tried. I was like, I don't think.
No, yeah, you could have convinced me otherwise, legitimately. But they saved her by the grace of God. Like
Yeah.
she's
By the
blessed.
grace of God.
So she's she's back and she's doing well, and I like it.
That's good. Yeah, I agree. Listen, I don't really want Coop around Laura because I think Coop is a selfish character generally, but I think Laura is good for her, and I think that she really has helped Coop. I will say this: she has helped Coop mature. I don't think Coop is like all the way matured, but she's definitely on a better path than what she has been on, and I'll say I've liked her more as of late than I have in past seasons, and I think that she's taking steps to get her life together, and I love that for her. And actually, I was super here comes my little nerd moment. I was actually super impressed with the writers and how I think organically this story has come, because to your point, Coop has had a ton of run-ins with the law. So the fact that I didn't sort of connect the dots when this story first came around, but the fact that they have Coop now being interested in law and Coop taking this so seriously that, the person who wanted to drop out of high school and just get her GED or whatever, 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 is now actually being like, oh no, I want to go to a, not to say online schools aren't legitimate, but I want to go to like prestigious school, and get a law degree because this is something that I really want to pursue. And so I really appreciated that aspect, and I think that came super super naturally in terms of who her character is and what she's gone through. So yeah, I really like that storyline too.
It took a lot for you to say, I can tell, but good job.
Thank you, because I'm about to, when we get to Spencer and Liv, child, we get I'm finna change my tune. Finna change my tune. No, but that was Coop and Laura. You know, on the other half of that, Laura is married to Billy. Back at it again with the season 5 transitions. Laura is married to Billy, and Billy is helping Liv with the article. And so, you know, it was really good to see Liv working so hard. I know a ton of people, a ton of people are sort of annoyed with where this story has gone with the article and why is Liv
Mm,
pursuing this. But
yes.
it, I'm gonna defend my girl.
I'm
I'm
one of
gonna
them.
defend my
I'm
girl.
one of I'm one of them people. I can't lie to you. But all right,
No, I
go
know,
ahead.
I know. But for me, it was so interesting, especially seeing the little like montages and seeing her so invested because it's like Liv finally has something that's her own. And so to see her really like pursuing this and putting a lot into this versus the girl that we say got in like season 2 who was just like I don't know what I want to do, I don't know what I want to be. It was really cool to see from that aspect of her character growth. Also, so she basically is trying to figure out what Wade was trying to tell her. She said like Wade sent her riddles and basically just sent her footage and all 22 film of practices or games. And she essentially found out that GAU, like Coach Garrett, was like encouraging players to target. Billy eventually found that Coach Garrett was encouraging like a bounty type of situation where he wasn't only encouraging them to target star players of the other team, but he was paying them probably to target star players of another team, and injure them so that they would be out and so that they would win games, which is horrible. And yeah, the Saints NFL team are a really popular example of bounties and how horrible that is.
Oh, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know.
No, no, you're good. No, 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 no. I like football and I follow football, so I know about that. But yeah, yeah, yeah. It really is a thing where the Saints defensive coordinator and head coach do about it, where it was just like you get bonuses for taking out other players. So that's essentially what's happening at GAU under Garrett.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
yeah. And so again, the article has a really good purpose. Like she's trying to help people and trying to bring justice to the forefront. So what did you think about that and where they are sort of with the article?
Okay. I'm tired of the article. I will say that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I personally didn't think, okay, so in the last season and whatnot, I didn't think this article thing was going to be a strong enough storyline. I personally still don't think it's that strong of a
Mm-hmm.
storyline, but I'll see where it goes. Um, I mean, I get it. You have a coach that is corrupt. He's bribing and incentivizing certain players to obviously like harm other teams, which yeah, like obviously yes, we
You're
know that
like
that
it's
is
bad, but do
wrong
we
and that
care
is
about
bad.
it?
And that's where that's where I'm at,
I
I
mean, say
guess,
how you feel. Say
because
it with your chest.
that's that's what I'm saying. Like I don't see how it's relevant to this story. I get it. It's all American. Okay, football, yes. I'm kind of with Cooper. I'm like, yo, this story, you could have, when she started talking about the government and stuff, and I said, yes,
Well,
get
she did
in
that in
on
season
that stuff.
3. She attacked the government, sort of, kind of, in season 3, when she released the tape.
Mm, yes, okay, all right. She's dabbled in the government
You like
stuff. I
still.
don't know. Yeah.
That's
This,
fair.
this
That's
story, I'm
fair.
just like,
Again, it
it's,
is not like I think the writers and I've gone truthfully back and forth. I think a lot
mm-hmm,
of And I'm saying this confidently because y'all have come for me a lot, but a lot of Spencer stands have not been on my side as far as me like defending Liv and et cetera, et cetera. And I love Spencer. I do. I think that again, like I understand the idea of like, but why this story and it's Spencer and why messing with Spencer, but it's for me again, it's more about Liv finally finding something that she can
Mm-hmm.
sink her teeth into, and something that like everybody else on this show has gotten to pursue their dreams and their passions, and like when it comes to Liv, I just want her to be able to do the same thing. Now, do I think that the
Mm-hmm.
writers could be a little bit clearer? I do. And again, I've gone back and forth on whether or
Mm-hmm.
not they should spoon feed us these reasonings, because to your point, like you didn't know about the Saints thing. Like I just have that background knowledge. And so like sometimes it is a good idea to spoon feed us like why, like lay it out for me X, Y, and Z. Like why
Right.
she is
Why
doing
this
this,
is
like how it's
important.
benefiting them. And so I
Right.
think it would go over better with the audience if they just clarified like why this is
Mm-hmm.
so important, uh, instead of just sort of leaving it to be like, trust me on this.
Right.
So yeah, we'll see what the article stand. I can tell you that, 'cause
Yes, the article's not leaving.
the article's
I
not
guess we're
leaving. At
married to
least
this
until
idea,
I
but
think
it's
until
okay.
a good mid season, we'll have this article storyline until mid season. So for the next, let's say, 6 episodes, we'll have the
Yeah.
article. I think. So we'll see what
Mm-hmm.
happens. I think the targeting is an interesting direction for it. I didn't know that they were going to go that route. So we'll see what
Right.
happens with Garrett, what happens with
Yeah.
Spencer, what happens with Jordan, and what happens with Billy,
No.
because we know
Oh,
he ain't out
Billy.
the coaching game for too long.
Isn't he still principal of what's his face?
Yeah, but is that
Of the
gonna
school?
last? Is that gonna
I don't know.
last? We don't know.
Oh.
We'll see.
No? Okay.
We'll see. We'll
We'll
see.
see.
We'll see.
I was like, you know more
So
than I do.
I don't. This time I'm really just
Oh, you're just speculating.
I'm just speculating. Um, so with that being said, that was the article. Obviously we'll get to like Spencer and Liv and the rest of it, but we did mention that this was a crossover, so we did get the Bringston crew, the cast from All American
Yes.
Homecoming in this episode, and this is when we're shifting into the mess.
Mm-hmm.
The
The
mess.
relationships, the core of the show.
The core of the show. It's what a lot of people are watching for. It's what a lot of people are watching for. It's what I'm watching for. I
Definitely.
am one of those people.
I'm here for it.
I do.
I
I
don't
am
like
one of
messing
those
my
people.
life. I like messing my TV.
It,
So.
period. Period. Um. So Simone is back, and Simone is Simone we know and love. Simone we know and love. Right off the bat. Right off the bat. And actually, you know what? We'll just say right off the bat, she's at the open mic with Cam and Keisha, who
Mhm.
noted that Cam was singing on the open mic night. Really quick on Keisha and Cam, they have trouble in paradise.
Yeah.
So that is, Cam is being the Cam that we see on All American, and not the nicer, sweeter Cam that we see on Homecoming, and that's Keisha is really thrown off by that, and Spencer, who there was a cute little moment where Coop got introduced to Keisha. She's like, you the girl that was dancing on Spencer."
Okay, see, that's the kind of stuff that I missed because I haven't caught up on Homecoming. It's like the
That was
little
in the back
behind the
door. That was
scenes
in the back
things.
door. That was in the first Bringston when they went to Atlanta, and it was the Beyonce, the partition.
Oh,
And you remember they were at the party and she was trying to make an ex jealous or something. Do you remember that?
no. I
Oh,
remember the dancing. I don't remember. I mean, I remember the Lingerie show. Is that the same episode?
Yeah,
Or is it
it's the
not?
same episode, and then later it's when Spencer and Olivia made out at a party, but Spencer and Olivia made out at a party because Keisha was dancing with Spencer, and Spencer was just like,
Ah,
"Oh, Keisha keeps dancing with me." Da da da. So then Olivia danced with him, and it was before Spencer and Olivia were like
gotcha.
official, so it was a big thing. And here's where I love Coop. I love Coop as the friend to. I keep saying this, but I love Coop as the friend to Spencer because she
Hmm.
is the one that's going to tell the truth and be like, yeah, thank you from all of us because Spencer and Liv were tripping, and we all knew that they wanted to be together. And
So
this is
it's funny that you,
so
but it's funny that you think that for then, but then not the same for now.
oh, because Liv is Liv is my girl.
Hey, but
I I
hey,
am fully admitting that I am a hypocrite. That I am
like you said, I'm biased, and that's
I
just
have
it.
different
So,
standards. I have yes for Coop that I really this is true. I'm gonna admit it.
okay.
And I think and let me defend myself a little bit. Let me roll it back a little. Let me defend myself because I feel like there's a difference in like jokingly being like, "Oh, you saw this thing that all of us are noticing," versus when we get into the conversations that she was having with Liv, really just sort of taking it too far. And I think
Okay.
that's where I sort of drew that line. But again, as a
Okay.
best friend to Spencer and as a support system for Spencer, I love Coop and like as the comic really Breezy is hilarious. So it was really fun. It was really fun to get to see her interact with like Keisha, and then just more people that we see on Homecoming that we've like come to know, outside of All American. But yeah, so I know you haven't watched as much of Homecoming, but what did you
Hmm.
did the Keisha and Cam storyline move you at all?
So, didn't move me. Not really. I always think it's weird when like a dude is one way with you in one setting and then a completely
Hmm.
different way in another setting.
Agree.
Um, I that always is a turn off for me. And for them, you want them to work because you're like, oh, this is kind of cute. Like they're opposites, but they do complement each other well, and you know that he can have this really nice side to him. But sometimes he just be on some stuff, and I'm like, tired of you, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Um, I just, I don't know. He's gonna have to like figure out what he wants and stop being stupid about it, right? Like, don't be
Right.
immature.
Yeah.
Just say how you
Yeah.
feel and act accordingly. It's just, I
Yeah.
don't know.
And
Maybe I'm too
Spencer.
old. Like, it's just
No,
annoying.
I don't think. No, I mean I agree with you. So maybe that says something about me. But Spencer had these nice words, which we found out Spencer doesn't have a major. I was kind of shocked about that. He's thinking about doing psych. They are still in. They just finished semester one, so that's not like crazy. But I was just like,
Right.
oh, he doesn't have a declared major yet. But he said this really
Hmm.
interesting line that we also got in the trailer, which is like, uh, sometimes the the old you it is basically about like the old you being in old environments sort of brings out the old you even when you're trying to
Right.
move forward and move past it. And I
Right.
I agree, but there's something
Your
to be said
environment
about
can
like
be triggering.
yeah, right. He was just like sometimes coming home can be triggering. That's what he said. Sometimes coming home can be triggering and blah blah
Hmm.
blah blah blah. And you're confronted with your old self and it's XYZ. I agree, and I think that's true. But I think the way that Cam was, I was sort of surprised at the writers for this because I was just like the way that Cam was coming across.
Hmm.
I can't police how somebody is triggered and the reactions they might have to being triggered, but it was just really interesting because I feel like it could have manifested in a different way. This is my version of Coops being like, it had to be this article. Like, I really think it could, like, Cam's triggers could have manifested in a different way. and it's just like, yeah, you're triggered by being home, but also you're like learning to be a young adult and like communicate with
Hmm.
Keisha. And so that's all I had on, on that.
But what was it about home? That's what I'm saying. Like it seemed as
They
though
touch
something
more on it.
was
They sort
made
of
at such
touch
a
more. No, no, no. Sorry, they
go ahead.
touch more on it in the homecoming episode. It really worked as like a
Oh,
two-parter.
gotcha.
Essentially, so it's like he has this scholarship that he lost at the end of last season. So he
Okay.
was really worried about coming home, and so he had to get a job. And part of the reason why he lost the scholarship is because he was doing something really nice for Keisha. Even though it was the losing the scholarship was going to be inevitable, but it sort of sped itself up because he was doing something nice for Keisha.
Oh.
And so maybe that's why. But again, I think like I loved sort of Homecoming's explanation
Mhm.
as an add-on to All Americans. Like if you just watch All American, I feel like
Mhm.
Spencer had some really good things to say, and I totally agree with it. But I feel like Cam was still being a jerk.
Mhm.
Whereas in Homecoming, it was clear, like they showed him more as a three-dimensional character. I think that's the word I'm looking for. Like Cam seemed very one note in this episode, whereas we actually saw the
Mhm.
full spectrum of who he is and what he's dealing with, rather than just being like, oh, we just have to trust that he's triggered, which I don't think came off as much in All American.
Right. Like maybe if I had seen, well, I guess you kind of get the backstory, but I do remember now on his phone they had the email where they showed his tuition and like how much
Right.
he had owed. So I mean, it goes to say like yes, financial stresses will sometimes bring some people out of character. But I guess based upon what you're saying, it almost seems as though he had made all this progress in Homecoming and then like started to regress as a character
Yeah.
in this
Wait, it's not even
episode.
started. It was literally like this episode he regressed, and it was like literally just for this
Oh,
episode.
okay, so
And
it's
that's why
out
I'm
of
like, it was a
nowhere.
complete 180, and that's why it was just like,
Gotcha.
yes, what Spencer is saying is true and real, but
Mhm.
it would have. I feel like it would have held more weight if they had showed us a little bit of what they showed us in Homecoming as far as Cam in the episode after
Gotcha.
versus just what we saw in these little clips. And sorry, that just made me think. By the way, I was just like, the other reason I sort of rated a 7.5 and it didn't get to that
Mhm.
8 is because, again, if NK was bold to do a crossover, and I think for the most part it worked out. But if you're gonna do a crossover, have the characters interact and have storylines with people that they don't normally have storylines with. Like Keisha
Okay.
had more conversations with Spencer. Let me not.
Yeah, they
I
have like their little one-on-one.
Keisha and Spencer had a couple one-on-ones throughout the two episodes. And I was just like, I don't know
Oh,
how I
okay.
feel about this.
Oh, especially with the ending. I hope they're not
I
alluding to
don't know how I
anything.
feel about
You
this.
think they're
So
no. I did
but
no, I'm not. We know who's Endgame, so I'm not even
we
gonna
know who's in game. I was just like, and that's why I was just like, I
start
don't.
that.
We know who's in game, and we know they're on two completely different
Yeah.
shows. So why are we spending all of this time on Keisha? But
Right.
anyway, that's
Right.
that's another conversation for another day. But my more of my point was that they didn't even allow the Bringston crew besides Keisha, I think, to interact
Mhm.
with other people. Well, Keisha and Simone, but like to interact with
Simone,
other
yeah.
people. Like it was so limited. And Cam like said 2 words to Spencer, even though he has been on the show longer than Simone. Like it just was very. I feel like, and I guess Cam is from Cringe On. He wasn't really tight with the Beverly crew either. But it was just like,
Mhm.
if you're gonna have all these characters beyond the show, like
Yeah.
get them with as many people in the show as possible and not just like
Gotcha.
keeping it to Jordan or keeping it to Layla or blah 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 blah.
Yeah. Because
Which
truthfully, like I guess if they don't interact, they don't really need to be there.
right. And that's my yeah, exactly. And I think with the Keisha and Cam storyline, it was glaring because she only had that
Mm.
interaction with Spencer talking about it, and it was just like we literally could have just gotten this on Homecoming. Like I don't think we needed to have them both here
Right.
to have this conversation. Like we could have just had Simone, or even just like Simone and Keisha, because Keisha was there as like a support
Mm-hmm.
system for Simone. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
speaking of being a support system for Simone, um, had to cut it right there, but hope that you enjoyed the first part of us talking about the season 5 premiere of All American, and stay tuned for part 2.